guest is Doug Keast. He's the program manager at the National Disability Institute. And there he is. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for joining us, Rise and Shine. I hope you had your coffee. I've had a few cups and we're gonna there you go. I love it. I love it. The National Disability Institute. Doug, thank you for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit about the National Disability Institute and the great work you guys do?
Oh, yes. Thank you, Jeff. The National Disability Institute, or NDI, is a young organization. It's about 20 years old now. It's the first national nonprofit organization to be fully focused on building the financial assets and capability of people with disabilities. The identification for the need for this focus is in recognition of what we understand about the cycle of poverty and the high representation of people with disabilities among those in poverty, and vice versa. There are many factors to address and consider. In addition to accessibility and trying to understand the disability experience that many focus on. Our agency has worked to identify solutions to dependency on supports that seem to work to create barriers to self-sufficiency, rather than encouraging them to build assets and resources from which they can use as a foundation and become independent of those supports. Our focus has been in three specific areas for the past 20 years. First and foremost, in policy. In our efforts to support policy that will more effectively support and encourage individuals to become less dependent on disability benefits and support and successful in building their careers and their self-sufficiency. Secondly, looking to build individual financial capacity through education and tools. So we talk about the different types of literacies. Financial literacy is incredibly important. Being more financially capable is a big focus for us. And finally, the area that I'm mostly involved with is the focus on career services and supports. Recently, we've also had a lot of success with initiatives to build supports for individuals with disabilities in operating their own businesses. A lot of our focus is in doing training and technical assistance with agencies that do the direct service with individuals across the country.
So Doug is the kind of guest that you absolutely love on your podcast because you can just give him one line and he's going to run with it all and he's going to get you all in there. NDI does some great work and thank you for sharing that. And those are all important points. And I really appreciate you laying the groundwork because I do think that we work with a lot of different targeted populations when we talk about adult literacy, and the ones that often are at the bottom of the list of really our target are individuals that have some kind of disability that we need to work with. And it's interesting because I think that you mentioned financial literacy, but I think literacy in general is something that's so important, helping individuals kind of navigate that career journey to success. When they finding that place that's going to make them happy and that they can really jump into that career. I'm curious from your perspective, you mentioned policy, and I'm curious, we're up here on Capitol Hill this week, and we're going to be talking to legislators about policy and things that they should be on their radar screen when it comes to education. And in particular, what is it that NDI would like us to be able to share with legislators when it comes to adult literacy and what's happening nationally?
Well, a lot of the focus that we've had with regard to policy is, I'm sure you're probably aware, a lot of the disability benefits are focused on asset limits and those types of things that, in order to demonstrate the need to have those benefits, you're not able to get those benefits unless you have a limited amount of assets. Unfortunately, encouraging people to step away from those benefits and build their capacity through training, through education, but also other activities in looking at career pathways and growth in those areas are it's very important to have a good financial base. One of the examples one of my professors had at the university was if you have an entry-level job and your refrigerator breaks down, and you've got to worry about the meat and the freezer and the milk and everything that's going to spoil. And so you miss that day at work and you lose your job. Being able to have some resources set aside to be able to respond to those types of challenges is real important for that foundation in pursuing a career. That's just one example, but looking at those limitations, but also looking at ways that can support a pathway away from those benefits and support agencies, support all of the support agencies in helping people move along that pathway is very important.
Yeah. Can you talk to us a little about the career pathway piece too? Because I know that's your specialty, that's kind of your wheelhouse. But how important is education in that career pathway that you're hoping to transition people into?
Well, everything that adult basic education is involved with is critical to people with disabilities, just as it is with everybody. Having less than a high school education puts you at a disadvantage in your career. Having the supports to follow education in areas that are going to help push you into or support your entry into career pathways is very important. I think for adult educators, sometimes when you're presented with a student that has challenges, having the ability to get support from other professionals with the expertise in supporting those individuals is important. A lot of schools are doing a really nice job with their disability resource centers, but also the expertise that's in the vocational rehabilitation agencies and other support systems is nice to be able to tap into to support educators and including those folks in their services. We focus a lot with the workforce agencies and the folks that are doing the apprenticeship and working with businesses to support the pathways that way too. But partnerships with adult education is critical as well.
Yeah, one of the things that I get most upset about in a lot of the work that we do, and I work particularly with marginalized populations, individuals that are often traveling through the criminal justice or criminal legal systems. And one of the things is the undiagnosis of people that have a learning disability and helping them, number one, recognize it so that it can be identified, and then working with them to kind of get over that disability. And accommodate them so that they can find that career pathway and they can find that success that they're looking for. It's really hard, and I wonder, if we're here at Adult Education and Family Literacy Week, we're really talking about adult education, and my definition is really broad. Like, I think you hit it on the head when you talked about not just about basic education, but also financial literacy, digital literacy, super important. All these pieces that come into play, and this career preparedness piece as well that you mentioned. NDI, the work that they do, can you explain to us a little bit, like nationally, what's the scope? Where are you? How can people get support from NDI if they need it?
A lot of our work focuses with the agencies that serve people with disabilities. So we work with a number of state agencies on the disability, on the financial capability. A lot of our work has been in communities with collaborations. We've gone to recently Detroit and Houston. And have worked with coalitions to support making connections between financial institutions, government agencies in the community, schools, and workforce entities to look at how they can support connecting people in poverty with financial resources and tools to help them to build that connection. So where there's opportunities to look at coalition building, we've been involved in that type of work. We're also very involved with, are you familiar with the ABLE Act, the Achieving a Better Life Experience? We host the National ABLE Resource Network and support education and awareness of using an ABLE account for people to set aside financial assets so they won't count against their requirements in keeping their disability benefits until they can progress far enough where they're comfortable letting go of those disability benefits. So that's been a big emphasis within NDI.
I love it. I love it. And it's something that often is off of most of our radar screens as educators, and, how we work with individuals that have a disability is really a niche. It's really a special kind of place where you want to help our students and learners succeed. And being able to do that sometimes means understanding their financial implications of things that they're going through and guiding them through that process where they find that career pathway to success. So just before we let you go, I'm curious, if you had a message you want the public to know. We got a lot of listeners where it's going to be aired again and again. If NDI has a message they want people to know about the National Disability Institute and working with individuals that have a disability, what is it that you want everybody to be aware of?
Well, I'll tell you, this comes from me and from the work that I primarily do. But the most important, the worst thing we can do is to, as we're meeting somebody and serving somebody, is to limit what we do with them based on our own experience and our own knowledge base, because that's where the access to expertise can be closed. Look for friends, colleagues, people with other experience. It's impossible for any one of us to know everything about disability and everything about accessibility and everything about all of the resources available to an individual. But if we're part of a network, and we connect other people's expertise to people that we're working with, that's where things can really happen on an individual by individual basis in supporting them in being successful. The vision of WIA I was really impressed with back in 1998. I think that's still a good vision for all of us who serve individuals, is to find ways in which we can share our expertise with others and they can share theirs with ours, and as a community kind of help support people in their growth.
I love it. Doug, thank you so much. If people want to get more information about NDI, where would they go to?
Our website, of course, is a great place to connect with us. I don't have it. Should I?
We'll make sure we put it in. We'll put it
Okay.
in there for you. No worries. But we wanted to thank you for joining us on Adult Education and Family Literacy Week. It is so important that we work with individuals that have disabilities, and you're getting a lot of thank yous and applause going on in the background here. You may not be able to see it, but really want to thank you so much for being with us today, and best of luck. We're looking forward to working with you at COABE, and we're gonna there we posted in the chat box the your website for NDI. And again, have a great day, and hopefully we'll be seeing you soon at COABE and some of our conferences that are coming up. So thanks again, Doug.
Thank you very much, Jeff.
Awesome.